Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for Faithful Fridays. What a time to be alive and well. If you're in the Midwest, we're experiencing a pretty decent day. I think we got a few sprinkles, but that's all right. It is a good day. We are officially preparing for the disconnect for most. But it's been a good week. It's been a phenomenal week. This week for me was no different. I continue to command my morning. I hope that you did as well. And continue to stay focused on the goals that are ahead of me. I can't focus on anything that's behind me, but I can focus on those things that are ahead of me. Faithful Friday could not have landed on a more better day than International Women's Day. So if you're a woman and you're out there, happy International Women's Day. Just celebrating women and all of their amazing accomplishments. It's just amazing. It is. Many of us, when we think about who we are as a woman, we are moms, we are wives, we are cooks, we are housekeepers, we are coaches, counselors, we're Uber drivers, hairstylists, if you got little ones, we're home nurses, we're entrepreneurs, we're heart menders, we're caretakers, we're calendar keepers, burden bearers, confidence, we've got to budget the bills, and a slew of other hats that we wear. I am going to definitely post a spotlight that was done on me by my organization in which I work for, spotlighting me as one of the women in leadership for the company. And I'm glad about it. It feels good to be spotlighted, and it definitely feels good to be appreciated. Again, as women, we do so much, and often we do not feel celebrated nor appreciated. And so again, grateful for this day and just hearing the phenomenal women and their contributions. I've just been listening to things all day, their contributions to not only their personal worlds, but to the entire world that they are blazing trails in. Again, I told you guys it was a fantastic week. The week started off with me being forced to reckon with two questions, two thoughts on this week. Where am I headed and what will it look like when I get there? I will pose that question to you as well. Where are you headed and what is it going to look like when you get there? I don't care how old you are. You should spend time dreaming about the life that you want and the necessary steps it's going to take to get there. I don't care, how old you are, the resources you need, the financial limits that you may feel like are over your life. I get it. Sometimes it feels like we can take 2 steps forward and we end up 1 step back. But remember, despite what it may look like, you are making progress. So if you don't try, you won't even begin to make the progress. Refuse to get impatient with your current circumstances and be at peace that you are gaining the ground that you can. You're doing what you can. Do what you can with what you have. When you're not satisfied with the outcome of your decisions, it's not too late to change your mind and change your course. If you need to remember anything, just remember the ship and its ability to go back and forth. If a ship were to go back and forth, guess what? It would never reach its destination. And that's how our life can be sometimes. We talk about where we want to go for a little while, and then bam, we experience a storm along the way, and all we can talk about is the bad weather. All we can talk about is the bad things that happen. All we can do is reminisce on how it didn't work before. And that causes us to lose sight of where we're headed in the first place. We can't lose sight of where we're headed in the first place. Remember the sun. And when I say the sun, I mean in the Son of God. The sun has never stopped shining in our lives, no matter how dark the clouds may get. He always comes through. Sometimes I even have to ask myself, if I lost everything, would I still trust God? And I can say today, I can confidently say, yes. Because there's not a thing that I have lost that he didn't replace with better. And I'm saying physically, financially, materialistically, there is not a thing that I lost that he didn't replace with better. By midweek, I was in some deep discussions about life and how I see it. And maybe it was the news outlets that were charging me, or sometimes we can just get sick of seeing mess. At least as I get older, mess gets on my last nerves. I just kept thinking, people are on their way to hell and they're just happy about it. The amount of followers versus leaders has increased substantially. any and everything goes, and it seems like having standards is out of style. Talent no longer sells, and foolishness and getting it out to the eyes of the public so that people can have something to chat about is moving at an expedient rate. We are seeing people do any and everything to get attention. When my spirit gets vexed or grieved, I just pray about it. I really do, because I realize many will say, well, your generation had its woes as well, but this is a whole nother level. All I can do is my part and make sure that I'm teaching minds the right way. That's my village. And that I know they won't be perfect, but I do want them to have respect for themselves. I do want them to learn to be leaders and make conscious choices about their life. Why? Because your brand is everything. It is. Your brand is everything. And once you put something out there, society has a way of stamping us and making sure that they bring it back up when we least expect it. I want to use my tongue to speak life and not death, to bless and to not curse. And that's even when it comes to my enemies. So I would never take it to an online platform to air out my frustrations, because again, society has a way of stamping us and helping us to remember when we put something out there. I ended this week riding home from the gym this morning, and it just kept hitting me, stumbling blocks. And I'm like, why am I thinking about stumbling blocks? So I looked it up. I've heard the acronyms for it. I've heard what people have said about it. But what was the definitive state of a stumbling block? It is a circumstance that causes difficulty or hesitation. And sometimes we are met with stumbling blocks, and sometimes we can be the stumbling block. Sometimes we find ourselves just, in friendships or relationships or situationships that are stumbling blocks for us. Sometimes we find ourselves wanting to get it together, but because of those that we are around, they get us off track. We're always back off track. And that's why it's very important that we be mindful of the company that we keep. We have to realize that we can't continue to blame others and their unwillingness to address what it is that's their issue and what's driving their behavior. Because guess what? That's their choice. If you desire to change, you just got to do it. You can't force people to do what they're not willing to do. And I think my shirt says it best on today. It says, pull yourself together. And I don't know if I'll get a chance to post a t-shirt on today, because I am posting my spotlight for International Women's Day. But again, sometimes you got to tell yourself, pull yourself together, get it together. There's a lot going on in this world. There is a lot to be distracted by, but we got to stay focused on where we're headed. There's something to chat about each week. There's a new hot topic to chat about each week. And sometimes it just gets disturbing, and it gets disturbing how we can get caught up in the foolishness. And so a lot of times that's why I will tune out, and I don't want to know what's going on because it frustrates me. And when it frustrates me, I have to pray, because I know just we can do better. We can do better. And with all of the access and the tools that we have access to now, we have to use these tools to empower and not use them as tools to spill out our tea, find crazy ways to get attention, and definitely stamp our way. Allow society to stamp us in a way that maybe one day we don't want to remember. But again, y'all, it was an awesome week. Most of us are prepared for the disconnect. If you're looking for the guys, we will be at the Winners Farmers Market. That is 1220 Waterway Boulevard. That is located at the AMP 16 this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Shay Sparks did post a new video on today that is on her page, so feel free to check her out. Again, y'all know I brag about her. I brag about her because she's a conscious rapper, a very good rapper, not only a rapper, but a songwriter, beat maker. She sings as well, that does good, positive music. And I have to keep her encouraged. I have to keep her encouraged because there's so much foolishness going on in the way that they want to drive her to do music that is of a foolish nature. I have to tell her to make sure she stays grounded. And I don't really even have to tell her. It's just something that's in her. And when something's in you, you don't really have to have someone to guide you in doing it. You're just grounded and want to do so. So check her out. But again, y'all, I hope everybody had a fabulous week. Do something this disconnect that your future self will thank you for, even if it's just getting some rest. But you know the drill. Make sure if you're out, you're letting your light shine. Why? Because your transparency is leading to so many other people being transformed. I will be back on next week. But until then, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.